how this looks. She's the president of the club. How is she giving an icebreaker speech? Well, when I gave my first icebreaker speech, when I joined the club in August 2022, I got my first birthday and indeed my first icebreaker speech meant to introduce myself to the club. However, I said little to nothing about myself. I may have mentioned where I grew up, but other than that, I did not mention much about myself because I couldn't stand the idea of having to tell people about me. Well, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to reintroduce myself as I embark on a new pathway tonight. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, visiting Toastmasters, and guests. My name is Tumelo, no middle name, Maphalala. Tumelo is a name I was given by my mother. My father figured he would let my grandfather give me a second name. My grandfather heard the name Tumelo, loved it, and decided it was befitting a name for me. Tumelo is a Setswana name meaning faith, and it was an ode to my mother's faith in her bearing children. If you haven't guessed it already, I'm an only child. I may have been born an only child, but I was definitely not raised an only child. There was always a cousin, an aunt, an uncle, or someone else living with us, so I never got the full benefits of being an only child. When I was born, I found my paternal aunt, my youngest aunt, living with my parents, and she doubled as my sister and still does to today. I was born to a primary school teacher mother and a father who was a fitter machinist at the BCL mine. Therefore, I grew up in the small town of Silibepiko in the northeast of Botswana. As a matter of fact, it was considered the largest town in Botswana. It was small in my eyes. It is there that I attended a primary school where we were encouraged to take up all sorts of interests, all manner of interests, be it in the sporting, creative, or even academic fields. And it is there that I sang in the choir, swam on the swimming team, and also was chosen many a time to deliver a speech about how school events were conducted. It is also there where I struggled with the Setswana language. It was so bad that my primary school mother teacher banned me from using the English language in our home. And she tutored me herself until I got a B in my grade 7, Form 3, and Form 5 examinations. And to her, I am forever grateful. For my Form 1, however, I went to a public school, and my interests dwindled, if you ask me. It's there where, instead of being on the debate team, I wrote for the debate team. I was the brain and not so much the mouth of the debate team. I enjoyed my time there. I won't complain. But when I moved to Gaborone to pursue my Bachelor of Science in Biological Sciences at the University of Botswana, I kept to my small group of friends from my hometown. I remember Mughal Catering Canteen hated to see us coming. We were a loud and rowdy bunch, but I was only loud in my group of friends. I was quiet everywhere else. It was also in university that I learned about Toastmasters. I heard my aunt, remember her, and her friends talk about a certain Toastmasters club, and I figured probably adult content and did not engage. At the end of my studies, I was offered an opportunity to be on the National Internship Program and stationed at a pharmaceutical company which specializes in the production of livestock vaccines here in Gaborone. And it is there where I got a bit too comfortable using the Setswana language. So comfortable that at my first interview, my first interview at the company, by the way, I was told, feel free to use Setswana or English when answering these questions. I remember thinking, Setswana, interview, that doesn't sound right. But perhaps if I get stuck, I could rely on Setswana. I know what a virus is in Setswana. But do I know what sterilization and inactivation is? Oh well, I guess I can't use Setswana. And therefore I stuck to English. Unfortunately, I did not get that job. but the interview experience taught me something. I needed to be able to articulate myself. I needed to be able to translate my intellect into my words and have my abilities be spoken for. Thus, I revisited the idea of Toastmasters. I found Gaborone Toastmasters Club on LinkedIn, followed them promptly, and enjoyed their content. But at the time, I figured I don't afford Toastmasters. I cannot afford it on the small internship stipend, and therefore I did not join. I ultimately got hired, and I figured, getting a job is what will give me back my confidence. It did not. Sorry to burst your bubble. It did not. And I finally took the plunge in August of 2022 when I joined this movement. And I have reaped insurmountable, astounding benefits from being a part of this community. I have changed my life, both personal and professional, in many ways because of the courage that Toastmasters has given me. Tonight, I embark on a new pathway, and ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to say, this is me. I thank you.